Welcome to TMYK live on Facebook and YouTube. And well, we were on X, but we're not a premium account anymore. And by anymore, I mean ever. They just changed that. So we're not live on X anymore. We are the trio that does a lot of these podcasts here for you. And we love doing them. It's three guys sitting down, chatting about some wrestling, chatting about some sports. So if you are ever inclined to put a comment in that chat, go right ahead and we'll talk to you about it because we love doing that. Today we are going to do some wrestling and we are going to do some little USA basketball, maybe a little WNBA All-Star Game USA basketball as well. I don't know. And then we've got some big announcements about our NFL slate that is sure to get everyone ready. But without further ado, welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know's podcasting network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod. Chris, give me an old man take today.
You know, America is a great country. We are a country that is based on democracy and freedom, and yet for some reason,
Chris, wrong podcast.
For some reason, in the WWE, this tyrant of a GM, Liver Lips Pierce,
Yes,
who I for no other reason that I can fathom seems to be bigoted towards people from the Great Britain, across the pond, Europe type of people. I can't understand anything else is why he is just running Raw into the ground to make this, I guess, CM Punk's world. When didn't CM Punk officially go to SmackDown?
Calling someone who's anti a group of people and then putting that group of people the way you just put the group of people is Chris King. All said in love, all said. It's fantastic, Chris. I love you. Rod, please help me here with Chris King.
I don't understand how we're going to open with this and not just give all praise to the savior of the entire WWE Monday Night Raw roster, show, the entire feud between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, the man who essentially just made it so we didn't just waste 4 months of our life, the visionary, the revolutionary, the flashiest man on Monday night, formerly known as the Monday Night Messiah, formerly of the Shield. He's had many hats. Now he's going to wear the referee hat, Chris, because your guy has single-handedly scared every single referee in the WWE. And Jimmy, I'm not hot. I'm happy because we can finally have a stop for calling of constant investigations. Because what more does Chris have to complain about? Adam Pearce came out and told you no referee will work with Drew McIntyre. He reinstated your boy and gave him the match, Chris. What more do you possibly have to be angry about? Seth Rollins saved it. I want to hear you say thank you, Seth Rollins.
This is nothing but the referee's fault in the first place, all right? If they're not out there giving uniforms to CM Punk all willy-nilly so he can interfere in matches, if they're not going to call matches correctly, they have issues that they have to deal with. That's not Drew McIntyre's fault. That's their fault. All right. Seth Rollins doesn't
Adam
deserve.
Pearce got elbowed in the face. Whose fault was that?
That was Adam Pearce's fault because he refuses to rein in the wrestlers under his domain. All right. He's the general manager. He's acting like a tyrant, but doesn't do anything when things aren't done correctly. All right. He had huge botches and he has refused to acknowledge that. Instead, he wants to have an investigation about Drew McIntyre elbowing him in the face. There's no investigation there. We caught that on camera. How about we catch some other things on camera and investigate those? Like, he doesn't care that CM Punk interfered so many times with these championship matches. He doesn't care that Seth Rollins has no experience refereeing a match and should not be involved in a match of this magnitude at all.
Okay, wow, a lot to unpack there. First of all, huge shout out to the Cleveland Crippler here. Liver Lips, seriously, he's calling you out, Chris. And you know what? It's what the kids say. It is what the kids say. I think my dog is eating something now. That's a. Rod, you asked Chris what he has to complain about. Just wait until after the match on SummerSlam about complaining about referees, because we all know something's going to happen, and Seth Rollins is costing one of these two guys the title. My question to you, Rod, This is not official prediction show. That's next week. Right now, as you sit, Seth Rollins is costing who the world championship? Or not the match.
That's the $10,000 pyramid question there, isn't it, my good friend James Thomas? You have so many past scripts to go upon here, right? I was trying to think of the most recent high-profile guest referee for a match. Daniel Cormier, maybe, right? I mean, that's somebody who wasn't a typical WWE employee, but they brought him in and they kind of made it seem like it was going to be a big deal. And then nothing happened there, right? We have Mike Tyson, right? If we want to go way back, certainly he was involved in the finish of that match. We have Shawn Michaels. We have so many past histories we can go upon. So I would love to see nothing more than Drew basically get screwed by Seth and CM Punk get screwed by Seth and somehow Seth come out on top. That's what I want to see, Jim. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Somehow he makes himself the winner of the match. That's what I want to see.
Chris, other than Seth Rollins winning the match, who do you think he's going to screw over?
I think that Seth should be screwing over CM Punk. If we are to believe and take Seth as a man of his word, he's had way more issues for a way longer time with CM Punk than he has with Drew.
Yeah, I think we've kind of seen the Seth Drew thing. Seth CM Punk has more legs to it. So I think he's going to screw over CM Punk in this case, and Drew's going to get the win, and then he's going to go on to
What do you
try
mean by leg, Jim? What are you trying to say?
Legs.
What do you mean by leg? Are you trying to say something?
I really, really like Seth Rollins' pants from Raw, and his blouse was amazing.
You're not trying to say something about his leg injuries? You're not trying to make some sort of coded comment there about Seth Rollins' leg injuries, Jim? Because I also didn't like what Chris said. He was trying to intimate that Seth Rollins would come on TV and tell a lie. I didn't like the judgment and the sarcasm that was dripping off of Chris's voice there when he was saying, if we are to take Seth Rollins at his word, and then you make a crack about legs, Jim, and I just think everybody's attacking my guy here, and I got to hold him up one more time for the people that happen to be watching to see the visionary himself, Seth Rollins. Just make sure you watch your tone, Jim. We've talked about this.
So a website that I just went to, because I was actually looking, Seth Rollins have had to have been a referee at some point in his career, a special guest referee, Chris. So I don't know if I'm going to give you credit for he's never done that before. But this website, Sportskeeda, which is a fine website. I don't go to it very often, but they say there's 4 different things that Seth Rollins could do at SummerSlam.
I don't go to it very often, but it's a fine website.
A fine website, I'm sure. See, that Chris is not getting sued. Number 4, he could call it down the middle, and we know he's not going to call it down the middle. Number 3, he could cost Drew McIntyre the win. Number 2, he could cost CM Punk the win. And the number 1 on Sportskeeda, and the reason why I'm saying this is the Visionary could lay both men out and the match inconclusively. They don't say he wins the match, but
let's go a couple of like a stomp on somebody, a pedigree on somebody else, right? A super kick out of nowhere. Let's go. Get the crowd singing the song. Bring Seth the feathered bow out in the middle of the ring. Let's go.
It's the WWE. It's the WWE. Seth Rollins is the referee. For all we know, he could pin them and count himself to 3 and be the winner.
He could. He's the referee. He definitely can. If you are watching right now, who do you think is going to come out on top in that SummerSlam match between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre with special guest referee?
See, I just broke you. You just said Seth Rollins was in the match. He's not in the match. I just broke you. Let's get it in the ether. Let's get it in the ether. Seth will win. Seth will win.
We're going to do our big prediction show next week, but I do want to talk about some of the matches that are on SummerSlam this week, and then we can talk about SmackDown and Raw, how they went in there. Undisputed Championship.
We're not going to open, Jimmy. We're not going to open the show with Liv Morgan shorts. We're not going to open the show with Liv Morgan shorts on WWE Raw and the storyline that continues with Rhea Ripley. We're not going to open because that, to me, was possibly my favorite part of Monday Night Raw. I don't know about you, gentlemen.
At some point, I was going to say, Chris, I have 3 words for you. I hate you, Chris. Those 3 words right there. I love Dom. Dom was great. He messed that up a little bit. That's fine. But then he went off on her. Let's talk about the segment. Dom is turning on Rhea so hard. It's not even funny. And the culmination a few months down the road will be terrific, and that even might be at Royal Rumble. You never know, so we might get to see that live. Yeah, he's totally turning on her, Chris.
I almost half expected to see Liv Morgan's cry turn into a laugh there at the end. Like
I
that
did too.
I thought she was like expecting this, like she was hoping that this would happen. Like I really thought I was going to see that. I think I was more shocked than anything by the lick. Definitely was not
It's
expecting
different.
the lick.
It was
It's
different.
something different, something new.
You can't have the laugh though, right? Like Chris, I'm totally with you that would have been a cool vision to see, but you can't have the laugh and then tell the story that Jimmy's hoping to tell, right? Like the
Yeah, but
minute Liv
it's
laughs,
weird.
then the jig's
Yeah.
up.
I don't know
But she
because
could laugh, and it could be made for Rhea though.
It
That could have
hasn't.
been the laugh.
It
maybe.
hasn't been. I mean, it hasn't been hidden from us that Liv's ultimate goal is to take everything from Rhea, right?
Yeah.
So she's had ulterior motives this whole time. So that was going to, I was expecting that to keep me guessing, like, oh, what's going to happen next? Like, what does she have planned and how was this part of it?
Oh, okay, so light bulbs going off here, Jim. So I see what you're saying. Okay, so Chris, we could still tell that story, and then Dom's gonna just turn on Rhea when it's advantageous for him, right? He's gonna, it's gonna be some way of like of launching him, right? And then into the arms of somebody else, right? Like maybe even somebody swoops in. Like maybe that's the story we're telling, right? Is that Liv and Rhea have this whole thing going on where they're gonna be locking horns, and meanwhile, somebody like Charlotte's going to sneak back in, right? And she's going to say, I've been working with Dom this whole time, right?
Dude, your gimmick is ridiculous. Seth Rollins is going to win a match he's refereeing. Charlotte's got to come back. Oh, we got to have Charlotte. If Charlotte's not here, what can we do? Hey, what if Charlotte's here? What can we do? Because she's never around.
Listen, Jim.
Becky Lynch is mentioned more than Charlotte is, and she's not even under contract.
See, exactly. We know Charlotte's coming back. We don't know Becky's coming back.
Do we know Charlotte's coming back?
Listen, she's coming back. She's coming back.
We only know
3 words for you. Liv Morgan shorts. Thanks, Mark Allen.
We only know one thing for sure. At the end of all of this, Dom's going to come out on top.
Or Carlito.
Honestly, that should have been. And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast.
Actually, wait a minute, though. Aren't they trying to tell us a story that maybe Finn and Liv are working together?
Something
right?
maybe a little devious there as well.
Finn took the card, right? Finn's the one who's walking with Dominic when he happens to be around the corner.
Let's be honest. If any of us were single
where's this going?
that room, we would have taken that card too.
I'd have taken the card.
I'm taking the card. On a scale, let's do this. Let's do it this way. Rollins, the Rollins McIntyre and Punk triangle. I think out of a scale of 1 to 5 on how excited you are for the match, I'm thinking we're pretty high on that one. I'm thinking I'm a 5 on that. Chris, 5, Rod.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in Rhea though. The Rhea's reaction kind of caught me a little bit off guard. I would have thought that we wouldn't have seen like Rhea basically just like open her arms back up to Dom that quickly. You know what I mean? I was kind of a little bit with that. And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, so then you got Liv Morgan up top wearing the shorts that have already gotten mentioned now that will be legendary, iconic picture burned in forever wrestling fans' brains. And then Dom turns around and gets licked by Rhea Ripley. I mean, tough job being Dom.
Yeah, hey Dom, this is what we're gonna do today.
Yeah,
now, is there somewhere that Rhea could be the mastermind behind something as well, where she knows what's gonna happen?
I mean, certainly that makes more sense than Charlotte Flair pulling the strings for Dominic Mysterio the whole entire time, Jim. I was just wish casting there.
So Charlotte comes back and she goes with Dom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Andrade's mad. We have a story we can tell there.
So look, I got to bring this up because the Judgment Day is becoming more and more fascinating to me by the week. All right,
Good.
because we have essentially 4 people that I don't like and don't want to root for. And 2 people I absolutely love to see in the ring and are becoming huge faces to me. You have Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley as the faces, and then everybody else I don't want to root for, but they're all in the same faction. It's completely weird to me, and I don't think I've ever experienced it before.
Where does Dom's porn stash go into that? Mark Allen wants to know.
He's his own character. He's actually the 3rd most popular member of Judgment Day, followed by former member R-Truth, followed by Carlito, then Finn Balor, then JD McDonough.
I absolutely love what Dom has done. All right, but I do not root for him to succeed in any venture he undertakes.
No, that's
Oh,
what I mean.
So
It's also odd that his porn stash is able to be third, and then Dominic Mysterio is ranked below JD McDonough. That's the other thing that's really incredible about
well,
it.
you have Nick and then Dom, right?
That's right. Tommy and Nick Mysterio, both.
So on a
We
scale
are
of
just
1 to
breaking
5,
Jimmy's brain tonight, Chris. He is just not happy with us at all.
no, you guys are fantastic. I
We
love
don't
this,
have a
but
structure of honing in on a pay-per-view, and we're freewheeling, and Jimmy's like, look at these
I
guys.
know. It's
We're
like we
wild
have a
horses.
schedule. All right. Logan Paul, LA Knight.
Okay.
LA Knight's going to get the win. This is his crowning achievement. We are going to do a heat list after SummerSlam. LA Knight will be on that list. He will be top 5 on that list. That is my prediction. Prove me wrong.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think Logan Paul's absolutely winning. This is Cleveland. We're going to keep rolling with Logan Paul. We didn't just give him the belt for no reason. Like, what point did Logan Paul winning the belt make to then turn around and lose it to LA Knight at SummerSlam? LA Knight's already a big deal. He didn't need any help from Logan
Needs
Paul.
to be bigger. He was a big deal. Came down a little bit.
People
Chris,
don't like
come on.
Logan Paul enough. Like, in theory, Jimmy, you're right, but people don't like Logan Paul enough that it's going to give LA Knight any kind of a boost.
I think they don't like him a lot, and I think that's going to give him a boost.
They just don't care about him. It's not that they have white hot heat in the good Vince McMahon way. They just don't care about him. They find him annoying.
LA Knight's going to win this. I'm just going to
Damn
tell you
right.
guys right now why. And unfortunately for LA Knight, I don't think he holds on to it long before Logan Paul gets it back. I see this working as a longer feud between them. I think it's a nice feud. I love rooting against Logan Paul and love rooting for LA Knight. But I think Logan loses this because we're going to have a little bit of real life leak into WWE. Logan Paul is going to be distracted. He's got lawsuits that he is suing people for talking badly about him on the internet. And that is something that's going to leak into his life in the WWE, cause him to lose this match. And then eventually he'll have to get it back after a brief hiatus.
It's actually not a bad idea. He has to go away a little bit because, he's been on TV so much and defended the title so much. Are
Jimmy,
we finally?
what are you going to close with? I'm sorry, you should close, and then if you don't pick one of the two things I still want to talk about, I have a question for you.
Well, I want to talk about if we're ever going to see the end of this Braun Breaker Sami Zayn feud. I'm hoping it's at SummerSlam. I think that we've seen enough of this now that we need to get to this match.
Well, I don't know that we've seen enough of it because Ilya Dragunov is getting squashed in the whole thing. I just don't understand what we're doing. None of it makes any sense to me on any level. Dragunov just gets squashed again. I mean, I don't understand it. I don't see what the point was of Sami Zayn winning at Money in the Bank. Jimmy, you called it immediately when we were coming out of that premium live event.
Sure.
I love Sami Zayn winning. I think his in-match ability is unrivaled, right? The emotion that Sami Zayn can tell in the ring, there's not many guys that can do it like he can. But it was a mistake to win at Money in the Bank because now this just won't matter to me. It won't matter, and it should, right? For Braun Breaker, Jimmy, you talk about it all the time. We got to create stars. Chris, you talk about it. He's an absolute badass, physical marvel, and it's just not going to be that big of a pop now. And it was a mistake to let Sami win at Money in the Bank. So that's where it all started.
Would it have been so much cooler if Braun won that belt at Money in the Bank? He could be working on his and Dragunov's feud by themselves. And then we would have been able to see Sami Zayn and Jey Uso win the tag belts from Judgment Day and make that story even more interesting just the other night.
But unfortunately,
I think that's coming, though.
We've been there, though, right? But we've been there with those guys, right, Jim? I mean, heck, we were there with Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, for goodness sakes. And then Jey Uso is still the longest reigning tag team champion in the WWE history with his brother Jimmy, who's still not back, right? We had Sami Zayn win the tag belts with KO at WrestleMania. Like, Chris, you're probably not wrong, but I'll be bummed out if that's where we go, because it'll just be clear that we had these two guys that we could have done something with, and we could figure out how to do it with either of them, because we get too distracted with the bloodline and Cody Rhodes.
I think that's where we are going with that. Unless Gunther beats Damian Priest and Sami Zayn kind of goes to the Gunther route to be, sacrificed to him maybe for a campaign. Rod, what was your thought that you had?
I just think we have to pour out a little bit here. Let me grab a little bit of my Baja Blast
Yes.
and pour some
Yep.
out for one Robert Lashley. Hurt Business is no more. Bob Lashley will forever be able to have his Andre the Giant Battle Royal victory. No one will ever be able to take that away from him. He will be up there with such luminaries as Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss, and the list goes on and on and on. Bob did have a good run as champion for a while. He did
US
beat your
title.
guy.
He
Beat
was
your
U.S.
guy, Chris.
champion. He was a good U.S. champion too.
Yeah, he was good. He was a good collegiate wrestler. Just Bob Lashley's one of those guys, Jimmy, and you can tell the tale better than I, who like you thought would have been a big deal in WWE. It never worked out. He came back, and then you're like, okay, maybe we got it figured out, and then it just never really went anywhere there either.
They kind of had it figured out though, and they just went away from it for some reason. You know, they can you think of anything better than a bloodline Hurt Business feud? You know, you had the Shield and the Wyatts back in the day, so you've had these huge factions that could have done something. Even the new Hurt Business, you know, could have been something, and for whatever reason, they just didn't do it. But yeah, shout out to Bobby Lashley, no question.
Is he difficult to work with backstage? Has he been trouble before? I mean, you know, you hear some of these stories, Jimmy. He has been around a while. What's the word on that?
I haven't heard anything on that. You know, it might just be that he wants a little less of a schedule. I mean, the schedule for WWE, while not bad as it was for sure, is still a lot. And
it's got to be tough when a guy like Roman Reigns works, right? I mean, certainly you can't say that you're on Roman's level, but when he's the guy that works in the same company you do, you have to then go to him and say, well, wait a minute, this guy's allowed to work this many dates. Why can't I be somewhere between that? And that's got to be tough negotiation at times.
And you know, if you break your microphone in the middle of a say, here's the thing. I have had to move like 13 different podcasting places. All right. I don't ask much at all. Okay. I've done it in a car. I've done it in a basement. I've done it in my son's secondary room. I've done it in my son's tertiary room.
I have done it with a fox. I have done it in a box.
And the box fell apart.
I have done it on the East Coast.
I've done it in Florida. I've done it remote, no question. And all I want is a place where I can put my stuff and it's fine. I had to put my mic on a windowsill. And the window apparently look right here. Yep, fell off.
There we go. There we go.
Because I want the audio to be as good as possible. Now I'm going to have to hold the damn thing.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jim. We might as well wrap you out of wrestling here, and then we'll get into some sports takes for the people, and we'll get you home before you break that lovely shelf behind you.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Know Podcasting Network. In the Ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
A wrestler who has litigation against him. My, oh my, whatever will the WWE do? There's no way that's ever happened in recorded history before.
Goodbye, net. Yeah.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the flagship sports podcast here on the Morgan You Know Podcasting Network. I am Rod Morgan. I will now take over in the hosting chair for the executive producer of this and every other podcast, Jimmy Jamriska. He is still here. Chris King, our guy down there in Bloomington, he is here as well. I want to take this time right off the top to say football is around the corner. We know it. We are excited, and we finally have our schedule and plan that we can present to the people. Our football handicapper, Josh Williams, will be back the first podcast in August that this network drops. Josh Williams will be on, and we will do 2 divisions an episode leading up into September, and then we'll have an episode right before the season kicks off with our boldest and craziest predictions. So, Chris, you heard me. Start working on those cockamamie, crazy predictions that you want to throw out for all the people, and you got about 4 weeks to cook them up, my friend.
Yeah, it's going to be all Cardinals this year, baby.
Nice. I like that. So, Jimmy, 2 divisions a week, and then bold predictions. What do you think of our football plan we have laid out for the people?
I love our plan, and I'm going to once again rain terror on a team this year. I can't wait. Just get ready to bet against whatever I say in football. Basketball, I got your back.
Listen,
Football,
here's what
I know nothing.
Here's what I would suggest to the listeners right now. start lobbying us. All right. Hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on email, and tell us why Jimmy should absolutely not pick your team. All right. And if you make a good case, we won't let Jimmy pick your team. But if you don't write in to say, don't pick my team, Jimmy might pick your team. And Chris, we know the Jamriska kiss of death is pretty legendary on this podcast at this point.
I mean, it's like a foregone conclusion at this point, right? I mean, last year it was the Chargers, was it not? I mean,
Oh yeah,
we saw what happened to them.
Rams, back to back Rams. Remember when I picked that? That was good.
Yep.
They were up by week 2.
And then the year before that, I think it was the Raiders, and I think they won 4 games that year. It's not good
Shut
when
up,
Jimmy
Chris.
picks your teams.
Okay, Chris, I have
Raiders.
a question for you, NFL related. This one you did not know was coming, but I think you will be okay to answer it. Are you at all concerned that your quarterback, Joe Burrow, is attempting to look exactly like the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes? Are you a little concerned about this? What do you think it means for the Bengals moving forward?
I think any time that you have a healthy Joey Burr out there on the field, you're happy. I don't care if he's looking like Cody Rhodes or if he's looking like Dusty Johnson, whoever. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Joey Burr is a man of
big Bengal tattoo right here.
He is a man that wins football games. If you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, you want him out in the field. It doesn't matter what you see or how he looks.
Jimmy, if the Cincinnati Bengals DJ does not hit Kingdom early on game 1 at Cincinnati when Joe Burrow comes running out,
he or they need to leave. It's ridiculous. They have to hit it right away.
Now, I happen to know you're a big Eminem, aka Slim Shady. Well, I guess the death of Slim Shady. He's no longer Slim Shady, but did you think more Slim Shady or did you think Cody Rhodes immediately when you saw the Joe Burrow pictures?
Oh, it was Cody Rhodes for sure. 100% it's Cody Rhodes, and I love every second of it.
100%. Oh my goodness, Jim, do you believe, listen, for people that were with us on the wrestling show, we were giving love to Bob Lashley, and I had a Bob Lashley figure right here at my side that I could have brought out for the people. Bob Lashley, Brock Lesnar, given to me by the lovely Vanimal for Father's Day. Again, shout out to Bob Lashley. But we're not doing wrestling anymore. We're doing football next week. So that means only one thing, because it certainly ain't going to be baseball or Olympics based on the performance of you two gentlemen last week when we were doing fake Olympic events. That means we are going to run the fast break.
Welcome to the fast break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. I'm Jimmy. Chris and Rod are here with me. Let's talk some basketball. Let's talk some USA basketball on the women's side. USA women versus the WNBA All-Stars. And it ended exactly how we thought it would. A very competitive, very cutthroat game. That was one of the best All-Star games I've ever seen, Rod.
That was very good. You would like to think that the NBA counterparts take a page out of that and decide, a little bit of friendly competition is not bad. We can all try to make sure to not hurt one another, but actually trying to play a little bit of defense, actually trying to have a semblance of an offense in a competitive game makes for enjoyment for everyone, not just the fans, not just the TV viewers, but them, because all those women seem like they were having a good time too. Chris, what do you think?
I'll be honest, I didn't watch this. I haven't been paying attention to the WNBA. I will say this, though, for Team USA, I am happy that they have a loss like this right before the games. They can realize, like, hey, we need to step up our game. We need to bring our A game every game and not take anything lightly. You saw the same thing happen with the men's team with South Sudan. I like that with our teams before we get into the Olympics. Let's get those hiccups out of the way so we can go for gold, because that's what's important, right? The gold medal.
It is for sure. However, I just like watching this. I watched a lot of this game with my daughter, my wife, and my son. Our girl, Aaliyah Boston. We've loved her since she joined the Fever. Caitlin Clark. You saw that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, nice assist that they did. Just kind of a cool overall showing you what.
I thought it was nice of Angel to go ahead and make that basket and not just miss it
and not miss it and get a rebound so she can get the double. Yeah, that was nice, Angel. For sure. But you know what?
Sorry, Angel. I'm sorry. It's low hanging
fruit.
But
it proves that Angel Reese is awesome because she's playing the gimmick And when it doesn't really matter, when they're on the same team, she's fine with it and everything's great. I think that's perfectly fine. Shout out to
It's
Kelsey
just fun
Mitchell.
watching Caitlin Clark. It just really
It
is,
is.
right? Like
She's really good.
It sounds so trite at this point to say it, but like you can just see the gravity she has on the court, right? Like you just know when you see someone that everyone else on the court is worried about, right? There's still a couple of players that we see in the NBA game. There's a couple of players that we'll talk about here on the men's side that still strike that fear. But when Caitlin Clark has the basketball, everybody is paying attention to her, man. And that just, I love watching her get across the half court line and she thinks she has a semblance of an opening and she just starts going into one of those deep threes. I mean, it's really, really fun watching women's basketball. And Rod of 3 years ago, heck, Rod of 2 years ago probably would not have said that. So shout out to them. And let's hope the men can have even close to a tenth of a more competitive all-star game than the women just had.
Speaking of competitive games, the USA men's basketball has been in a couple of them, haven't they now? LeBron James had to, basically win both of them for them. USA and South Sudan, 101 to 100. That's not a wake-up call. I don't know what is. Oh, maybe it wasn't because USA and Germany came down to the wire as well. Couple things. Then I want to talk about LeBron and the flag. How worried are you, Chris, that Team USA is not going to be the team that we need to win the gold medal?
I mean, I'm not that worried. All right. And I'm not that worried because I know you said you're going to bring it up later because of the guy that's carrying the flag. All right. Because he just proved 2 games in a row why he is still the best in the world. I don't know if you guys saw that last play against South Sudan. LeBron just got the ball, held it, looked over the offense, and then made it look so easy to get to the basket and lay it up. Made it look so easy. All right. Like, that's why the USA is still the best. That's why we're still going to win gold. We got LeBron James.
All right, Rod.
It's just so fun to see a guy with other world-class athletes, right? Essentially doing old man at the Y game, right? Like all of us remember being a high schooler rolling out to the Y, right? And like that 37 to like 42-year-old dude would kind of roll out, right? And he'd just be like, hey, I haven't been in a run in a long time. And he'd be cool enough that like he wasn't, really hurting anybody. But like when he'd need to, he'd just have that old man strength. Like, all right, I'm going in the middle of the lane and all 4 of you guys from the other team are going to bump into me, but it's not going to do a damn thing. And I'm going to get this layup off, right? And that's exactly what LeBron does to world-class athletes, right? He just goes to the lane and he might be 40 years old almost at the end of this year, but he's still 6'8". He's still 275 pounds and he's still chiseled out of absolute granite. So, and he's got the basketball IQ of somebody who's played for 20 straight years and someone who's played in the Olympics twice before. So there's nothing on a basketball court he hasn't seen, and he still has the ability to summon it just enough, right? Just enough quick twitch to get it done, and his absolute speed and IQ will dominate. So I tend to agree with Chris that like, I think LeBron is going to be just enough to put us over the top because, I mean, when you come off the bench with Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo, Jason Tatum, I mean, that's just, nobody else is coming off their bench with their 6, 7, 8 guys being that good. So even if somebody's a little bit off one night, the USA can still come in there. And let's not forget, Kevin Durant hasn't even played yet.
Yeah, with Tyrese Halliburton getting 7 minutes, Derek White getting 11 minutes. It's pretty cool to see LeBron James just take over. I'm not that concerned. I think we will have some competitive games, but I think we are going to win. Something that I didn't think was going to be a huge controversy. Apparently it is because they don't know who LeBron James is. LeBron James is going to carry the flag out, and people say that he doesn't deserve it, shouldn't be the person who does that. He is, I can say unquestionably, the best NBA, has had the best career overall, not the best player. I'm not getting there, but I think the best career of an NBA player is because it's lasted so long. He's been on multiple Olympic teams. He is everything that, working hard, coming from nothing, doing the best you can. You really don't hear anything bad about LeBron James. And you say the worst thing he's ever done is give money to a Boys and Girls Club, and made an announcement. So I think he's a very good person to represent our country as the flag bearer, Chris.
So I don't disagree, and I'll start by saying this: I really don't care. I think he's fine.
It's valid too. Yeah, it's like who the hell cares? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fine for him to carry the
Contest,
flag.
Chris, we have to care.
This being said, though, is LeBron James the best Olympian that we have on Team USA this year? I think it can be made a case that he's not necessarily the best Olympian on Team USA this year. And maybe we should have the best Olympian carry the flag.
Well, who is that then?
I'd put Katie Ledecky up there. I mean, this is going to be her fourth Olympiads. She's about ready to go for another gold in the 800 freestyle. So like she's been doing it. She's old as far as swimmers go and in the Olympics. So like you could make a case to me that she should be carrying the flag. Again, I don't really care, but I can understand the controversy.
Okay, Rod.
The amount of times that Chris, a man who co-hosts a podcast, comes on that podcast that we hope people listen to and says, I don't care, just absolutely blows me away. I mean, it just absolutely blows me away. I mean, like every time he does it, I'm just like, well, what the hell's the point? Why are all three of us then here throwing up the StreamYard, putting on the headphones, talking to one another about these topics if Chris is just going to answer, I don't care. Like, I don't understand what we're doing
That
here.
could be a
I
good
know.
segment. Oh, I like that. We're going to have a segment, the I don't care segment. Let's pick a topic we don't care about. Go.
I know it drives you guys crazy.
A 30-second segment, 10 seconds each of us. I don't care. I don't care. And I don't care.
I love narratives. Okay. We can talk about the Olympics being all the way harkening back to the Greeks and amateur athletics. It stopped being that a long time ago. Okay. This is probably the last hurrah the Olympics are ever going to have. All right. Maybe I shouldn't say that because it's supposed to be in LA for the next one. Let's hope everything can hold together, at least for the games in 2028 out in LA. All right. But we all get the greed and the corruption and all the stuff that goes on and the buildings that are forced to be made that then become vacant. We've seen the real sports things about all the Olympics. We've seen it, right? So put LeBron James on the barge floating down the Seine River during the opening ceremonies. Just do it. It's okay, right? It's okay. Put the most famous guy on the planet that Team USA has up waving the flag. There's nothing wrong with it, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with it because I guarantee you people wanted Michael Jordan to carry the flag during the Dream Team in 92. And Jordan just said, absolutely not. But LeBron is touched by the moment. And that's a little bit of why LeBron is who he is. You either buy into that stuff from LeBron the way that I do, and you think that that's LeBron having a sense of history and understanding how important and how many people look upon him and the way that he reacts and acts in certain moments. Or you can look at it like our guy Wu-Tang does, or our guy Pete Osterman, and call him LaFraud and think it's all cooked up and all an absolute act to just get people to like him. So I get it, but I think it's absolutely cool. And one more narrative you get, because this is a TV-driven narrative thing, the old guy still got it. How many other nations are going to have a darn near 40-year-old man carrying their flag for them? Probably not many. Let's go.
I love it. We've got a lot to go for the Olympics. We're going to talk a lot about the Olympics. We're going to talk a lot about football coming up in the next week when we have our brand new season. The NFL 2024 begins with Josh Williams coming back. Our first podcast in August. We will be live as long as Williams' equipment works okay and everyone else's equipment works as well. We should be good to go there.
I was going to say, you better be careful throwing stones up there at Glass House Gym right now. A guy who's literally windows falling in on him as he's recording.
It's perfectly fine. And with that, you have been listening to the Fast Break on the Morgan O's Podcasting Network. Thanks for listening live.
Hey, Germany, guys, Dennis Schroeder. I know you didn't want Maxi Kleber to be on your Olympic team, but could have used an extra big in that game there, Germany. All right. Could have used an extra big, a 6 foot tall, switchable, kind of good on defense. Maybe can even bury a couple threes for you. So, hey, Dennis Schroeder, we all love Deutschland, but this is about ball, dude. Could have used Maxi Kleber.
Hey, Chris, unmute yourself.
Goodbye, Nat. You were on mute.
Oh, yeah. Canada, stop cheating. You know what you did. Goodbye, Internet.
Shout out Canadians.